All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rechak double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in truth and sincerity. This is the brother Tawab Akha from GMS Los Angeles / Inland Empire. Come back with another video in the spirit. And once again, Tawab Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, hoping in my eyes is truth. Allow me to wake up another day and putting the spirit on me to do another lesson in hopes to edify the hopeful elect. Okay, so in this video, what I want to go into is to be circumspect. You know, being circumspect, especially in these times that we're in. You know, as you can see, a lot of people are, you know, losing their jobs. A lot of people are having their benefits stripped from them. You know, so it's going to be a lot of people out here in that desperate mind frame. You know, and you know. And us being in this truth, you know, and knowing that the times that we're in, you know, we got to move accordingly, man, you know, especially, you know, when we're out and about, you know, we don't want to be in that spirit of lagging, you know, just out and about, you know, all willy-nilly about everything, you know, if you out and about somewhere, you know, do what you gotta do and get the hell out of here, man. You know, in and out. That's the mind frame, in and out. You know, because a lot of these people out here, you know, or they have spirits on them, man. You know, even when we on brothers is driving, man, be circumspect, because you got a lot of people out here that are reckless, man. You know, reckless behind the wheel. You know, they'll risk their life and others, you know, just for the sake, in their mind, they're thinking they're getting somewhere, you know, quickly. But in reality, you know, they're not going anywhere, man. You know, it's all sorts of, you know, road rage incidents going on across Babylon. You know, I'm pretty sure other parts of the world, but you know, I mainly focus here because this is where, you know, the bulk of Jake is, you know. So I'm just putting this out there, you know, for brothers out there, you know, as well as you sisters too. You sisters out there, be circumspect, man. You know, don't be out and about, especially, you know, at night, man. You know, and you by yourself and you're not, you know, you don't have anybody there to, you know, as a protector. You know, it's not wise to be in certain, you know, environments in certain times of the day, you know. But I'm just going to bring out a few scriptures, and Lord willing, this is edifying. So this is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. It says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." And we're coming to evil times, man, bad times, okay? We're already in the bad times, okay? A lot of people are going through it, man, okay? You got people, all kind of people out here suffering from depression, anxiety, okay? Because, like I said, the whole economic situation, you know, people losing their jobs, man. People can't feed their families, okay? A lot of people are becoming homeless, okay? And a lot of the homeless, a lot of these people, you know, aren't people that have mental issues. These are people that are regular, everyday people that go to work. You got people that work, that have jobs, that are homeless, okay? People living in their cars. Okay, that this is the real America, man. This is the America that's, you know, they're not putting in the mainstream media. You know, even though a lot of these stories are starting to come out now, okay, because they have no other choice now, because there's so many people going to these different social media apps and exposing what's really going on. So now a couple of these mainstream news platforms, they ain't got no choice. Now they got to talk about these things because they can't pull that wool over people's eyes anymore because of the internet. Okay, the internet, you know, has exposed a lot. Okay, and that's why Esau wants to, you know, get rid of these platforms, man, because a lot of people are becoming aware through these platforms. You know, especially, you know, the truth. You know, that's the main thing. This truth. All right, by the men that go out there, the men of the Lord that go out there and preach this gospel. Okay, so we definitely in those times. So like I said, you know, it's best to be, you know, mindful, you know, Just, pay attention to everything around you. Know what environment you in. Watch people, look at people, read people spiritually. It's to see whether you need it's time to go. Because some people, some individuals, you can see demons on them. And those will be cues, spiritual cues for us that to get the fuck out of those environments, man. Even at the camp, when we brothers, sometimes brothers may congregate for a little bit at the camp, but when we see certain individuals or we see certain things, that's of a low frequency, brothers get the hell out of there, man. Brothers don't linger around and shit. So I'm just saying, just be mindful of that. All right, this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 1. It says, "But the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night." Right, and this is referring to us that's in the light. Okay, those of us that know the times that we're in, know the season that we're in. Okay, Paul's reiterating to the brothers in this church, that know what's going on. Like, he has no need to speak to them. Basically, he's speaking to the choir, but we have to reiterate these things to keep it stuck in our mind, to keep embedded upstairs, so that way when we are in these situations, we know how to move accordingly. Okay, it says, "For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Right, and that's what's coming. Okay, because when you read Amos, the 5th chapter, where it speaks about the day of the Lord, it speaks about that day being dark. Okay, it's a day of darkness and gloominess, thick clouds and thick darkness. All right, and it also mentions about a man fleeing from a lion and meeting a bear. And when he gets somewhere, he gets into a home, he puts his hand on the wall and a serpent bites him. And pretty much that's what it's saying is it's no escape. Just like it just said right here, it's no escape. Okay, so that's the times that we're in. So like I said, in these times, people are going to be out here in that survival mode. They're going to do what they have to do, and we may have to do what we have to do. Most high forbid, we fall in that situation, but you never know. That's why certain brothers is pushing brothers to exercise and to know some kind of form of self-defense. Because you got, like I said, you got people out here with different spirits on them. Ultimately, we understand that the Lord ultimately is going to protect his elect, but it's nothing wrong with being practical, man, about certain things. Okay, because the scriptures speak about being prudent, man. And we see what's going on. Those of us that's been woken up to this truth, we can see that times are that we're in is unprecedented, man. Okay, you got people all over the internet bringing out how it's expensive, how expensive their bills are, man. People are having a hard time just paying their bills. These are people that make decent figures, man. These aren't people who are doing mediocre jobs. These are people who are doing jobs that pay very well, But it's just the fact that everything is so fucking high. It's just their salary really doesn't matter, And this is being done purposely, because Esau wants everybody to get that C-hip. They bringing that digital ID, which that's just a stepping stone towards the C-hip. So like I said, for us, I'm referring to us that's in this truth. It's best to move wisely in these times that we're in. All right. It says, "But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief." Right, because we're in the know. We're not in darkness. We're not ignorant to what's going on. The Lord has given us the insight through this word. Right. It says, "Ye are all the children of the light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness." Right, because this word is referring to the light. Okay, this is the light. you know, because this is what we use to navigate. You know, you use light in order to see. You know, if you're in a dark place, you're gonna need light, you know, for you to know where your footing is, to know where to go, what direction to go. Okay, and that's what this word is for us. It's a direction. It gives us direction and navigation through all this darkness in this world, because this world is full of darkness. Okay, that's why when that time come, a lot of these people out here, they're just gonna be stuck. Okay, they ain't gonna know what the hell to do. All right, it says, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. And that's the point. Watch, you know, be sober, you know, spiritually speaking, you know, make sure, you know, when you out and about, wherever you doing, you know, just pay attention, watch people, man. You know, of course, you know, we watch, mainly it's talking about watching for the prophecies, watching, you know, the signs, but also, you know, we got to be watching when we out here as well, you know, watch, you know, anywhere we go, you know, you might go to a bar and have a drink, watch people, you know, watch, you know, check the environment, man. If the environment feel funny, get the fuck out of there, you know, simple stuff like that, you know. So it says, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep in the night, and they that are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a hope, and for a helmet and the hope of salvation. Right, because this truth, this word, this is our shield. Okay, this is you know, everything that we do in our life, you know, is centered around the truth, man. Okay, the way we make our decisions, our actions, our deeds, it all goes back. It's supposed to go back to the scriptures. Okay, this is what's going to keep us safe. This is what's going to keep us protected from the snares that these devils have out here, because Esau does have his snares, man. You know, that's why he comes with all these different policies. He comes with these different words. You know, and a lot of our people, they're not hip. They're not privy to all this information that Esau has out there. So a lot of our people get caught up into that because they don't have this shield. They don't have this breastplate of faith that we do, you know. So it's important to keep these things in mind, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just want to put that out there. But whether this is edifying to you sincere brothers, as well as you few sisters out there, man, stay strong, keep fighting. We almost out of here. So with that, I'm gonna give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKodash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in truth and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.